My 2026 New Year's resolution is I've put together a bucket list of 6 outrageous property strategies that I'm going to implement this year. I'm going to keep myself accountable by making them public on my podcast. Hi, I'm Andrew Wright, Principal of Professional Southport, and this is the Andrew Wright Property Podcast. I've built a multi-million-dollar property portfolio, delivering a 7-figure annual rental income, and led my real estate team through thousands of sale and lease transactions. In each episode, I share real deals and strategies that will help you find, fund, and operate profitable property deals. The aim of this show is to provide education and build a community of like-minded investors who can collaborate, share insights, and help each other in each other's journeys. You can make excuses or you can make money, but you can't do both. So come and join us.
Hello and welcome back to the Andrew Wright Property Podcast. And look, we've got a very special episode for you today. As we head into 2026, Andrew is going to tell us about his 6 outrageous property plays, his bucket list of what he's putting out there, of what he wants to achieve. So we'll go through all of that. And firstly, I want to say welcome back from Townsville, Andrew. You ducked up there for 24 hours yesterday.
That's
Can
right.
we start by what did you get up to up there?
Well, we did an episode on the truck parking depot investments, and one of them up in Townsville. We had a tenant moving out 31 December, so I've just had 3 weeks overseas, and I come back now, and I wanted to secure the truck depot because the big entrance and exit gates weren't secured. So I jumped on a plane, left home at 4 a.m. yesterday, went up there and hired a car for the day. Went to Bunnings, bought some chains and padlocks, and had to secure the premises. And at the same time, I thought that I might invite a security company there so I could get him to give me some advice on upgrading the facility. So my intentions there are to change the manual gates to some electronic gates, put in some technology or an app where the trucks can phone in or type in a PIN number to actually open the site with the electronic gates.
Right.
Put in some security cameras, some security lighting, and I'm not sure exactly how much that'll cost. I wanted to get him there so he could meet me, and then today or tomorrow, hopefully, I'll know what those costs are going to be. And the other thing I'm motivated about to do that is if I can't find a long-term tenant there, that will enable me to start getting some cash flow with some short-term parking.
That's what I was going to say. That opens up your options there, doesn't it? So any time in between long-term tenants, you can just be using that technology to get short-term in cash flow coming in, but also obviously being a great thing for your long-term tenants to have and use.
It's a value add for either tenant. So it's not like I'm just doing it for the short term, because I'm sure a long-term 5 or 10-year tenant there would appreciate an electronic gate and the security cameras. And the only thing that I got a little bit confused by when I was there yesterday is how to mark out the truck parking bays, because when you got concrete, you can paint it. Yeah. But when you got gravel that sort of moves around and the trucks move it, the lines will go everywhere. So I'm still sorting out.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
Have
you looked at others?
In America, yeah, that some of them might put like witches' hats.
Okay.
Or a plastic. They bang a nail into some plastic strips along the line because the plastic will stay there. Things like that.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I've got to think through that as to what that'll pan
But you
out.
bought that sight unseen, so was it what you expected?
Yeah, I was absolutely thrilled when I was there. There's a couple of potholes. They just had a cyclone there on Sunday, so there was a couple of potholes there with a bit of water that'll need to get sort of fixed up, and a bit of grass around the outside of the truck parking depot, which might need to be sort of cleaned up. But when I sat there, I took my son up there and I actually walked the thing. Man, this is so big. It's only 6,038 square metres, 1.5 acres. But when you actually open the gate and actually walk around,
like a lot.
It's like, wow, this is a big site. I mean, Yeah, I'm really excited and proud to own a truck parking depot like that. I know that sounds sick. People think
look.
a house is really good. Well, I got excited about this block of dirt. Just up here in Townsville for the day. Tenants just moved out of this 1.5 acre truck parking depot. Just up here to secure the gates with some padlocks. And I'm meeting some people up here to look at installing some electronic gates, some security lighting, and one of those PIN access codes. When trucks come up, they can type in a PIN to open up the electronic gates. Probably going to put in some security cameras as well, so I can operate this from the Gold Coast. When trucks need to park up here, I can see what's going on the security cameras. 6,038 square metres, compacted gravel. This needs a bit of maintenance. Now the tenants just moved out. I'll need to get someone up here and just flatten out a bit of this gravel. I'm excited. We might do some short-term truck parking here. I'll put some maybe some line marking in, and if I can't find a long-term tenant really quickly, I'll just do some month by month or overnight parking with some trucks. If I've got the right technology in place and they can have a PIN code to open the gates, put some numbers on some truck parking bays, if you like. Hopefully we can generate some short-term cash flow until we get a long-term tenant. Thanks.
No, fantastic. And I guess those little potholes are something you've got to expect with...
if it's not concrete.
Yeah, and concrete would be incredibly expensive to put down. So it's to fix a few potholes here or there when you need to, I suppose, is not a bad thing to have to do.
I don't think it's going to cost much.
No.
It's just someone for a couple of hours with a little tiny excavator or whatever they use to sort of push it. Yeah.
But you did something else while you were up there as well, which blew me away. So look, without spoiling the story, give me the backstory to what led to the other thing you did in Townsville yesterday.
So
it was just a few letters, wasn't it?
Yeah. So I bought a couple of properties up there last year, and I was really excited with the potential of Townsville industrial property. So what I did, it's not unique. I mean, I just copy other people, of course, and plenty of people have done this before, but I just went on the Google Maps and had a look at the area, and I just identified exactly my top 10 commercial properties that I thought I'd love to own, and I wrote them all a letter. Said, look, I'm an investor. I've just bought a couple of properties up here in Townsville. If you ever think of selling, let me know. And one of the 10 rang me.
Wow.
So my son and I went and spent an hour with him inspecting his property and having a chat. He's late in life, an elderly fella, and he and his wife are wanting to sell at some stage because it's 5 acres of land and there's a fair bit of area and uptake and maintenance for someone at 80 years of age. I think he was 82, and he's thinking of selling. And he was a delightful fella. We had a great chat, and he's got a 3-bedroom, 2-bathroom house. He's got a big 473 square metre industrial shed, and then another few acres of industrial land behind it, which would be perfect for truck parking.
Right. Well, your podcast series is already working on me, because as soon as you started to say the house, the shed, I'm starting to think, all right, what's the highest and best use here? Well,
I'm going to go this weekend and get out a spreadsheet and work out, well, how much rent can I get just for the house?
Yep.
How much could I get for that shed? What's the rate if I get $15 a square metre for parking trucks on the land down the back? How much is available there, and how much rent can it generate? I haven't done the numbers yet, but I mean, it's just so much fun just working it out.
Okay, so look, after the chat, there's a chance you will get this. That's what you call off market, isn't it?
That's right, off market. Yeah, they haven't spoken to any real estate agent.
And that's probably a nice thing for him being 80, not having to deal with all of that stuff, and potentially not pay a commission to a real estate agent. You get a good deal, and it could work for everyone.
He might not want 100 people walking through his house either.
Okay, fantastic. No, I love that. A few letters, and you got to put yourself out there, don't you?
I didn't expect anything.
No.
I thought, I haven't done direct mail, even as a real estate agent. A lot of agents put stuff in letterboxes and say, ring me. maybe I'm a slack agent sometimes, but I've never done that. I thought the strike rate would be too low, but I thought I'd give this a go. And I sent 10 letters and I got one response. I thought it'd be 1 in 1,000.
Yep. How long ago did you send the letters?
4 months ago.
Okay. And how long did it take him to come back to you?
He rang me about 2 months after.
Oh, okay.
So
it
before
wasn't straight
Christmas,
away,
I promised him I'd try and get up there in December, but I got too busy. And then I went overseas for a few weeks and I said, look, I'm sorry, I can't get there. I'll see you in January.
Right. Wow. Fantastic. All right. Let's get down to it then. You've decided there's 6 property investment bucket list things that you would like to achieve. Now, can I ask, being that this is sort of a new year thing, is this something you want to achieve this year or just...
No.
So it's just before, it's just bucket list items?
I think that Morgan Freeman and Jack Nicholson movie, Bucket List.
Yep.
I just absolutely love that movie, and they talked about things they want to do before they cark it because Jack Nicholson was really sick, and I just thought it was an awesome movie. And New Year's resolution, I think everyone thinks a little bit about it, but this year I'm getting a bit older, and the philosophy inside me, I just wanted to set some New Year resolutions about what I want to do for the rest of my life. So this is a bucket list. What I want to do before I cark it.
Right, okay.
And I want to do a podcast on all 6 of these things before I cark it.
Okay.
And I'm announcing them publicly here in a forum to make myself accountable.
I love it.
I'm not hiding it. I'm
absolutely love it. And that brings up sort of a thing we have talked about, which we are going to do with certain podcast episodes, where we're going to do a before, an update, and an after, like where you look at it, you what you're trying to achieve, and looking at a deal, a progress report,
yes,
and then how it ended up, and measure it against what your initial plan was.
I think it's a good idea because the best podcasts, I reckon, are when developers actually they go around with just a phone and show you this site that they're developing, and they got machinery on site, and it's just more interesting, isn't it? Rather than someone just talking about it, actually showing you what they're doing.
And seeing how it progresses and where it ends up. Yep. Absolutely. All right, well, let's get into them. So strategy 1, build to lease unit development. So talk me through that one.
Okay, well, I'll talk through that in a moment, but what I want to point out before we get started, Adam, is a mindset thing. So we just talked about in the last podcast how I love truck parks, truck parking. That's my favourite asset. I want to go and buy 100 of the things. And all of a sudden now I'm going to give you 6 property strategies that I want to do that are nothing to do with truck parking.
Yeah, well, that was something I was going to ask, in that it was just an episode or 2 ago where you said, that's where I'm headed, that's going to be my specialty. But you're now looking at a whole different range of things.
I am. So that what I want to talk about is there is always been a debate about whether you should be a specialist or a generalist.
Right.
And most people think of, in business, a GP, a general practitioner doctor might earn 120 grand a year, but a specialist surgeon probably makes $2 million a year.
Yep.
So it's a widely held belief that you need to be a specialist in a particular...
An expert in something thing and do it really well and
to
over
be the
and
most
over
successful.
Again.
And in many cases, that is true. But 15 years ago, I was a specialist in office investment. I bought 2 in 2005, and then I bought a property up the road in Narang Street which had 3 offices upstairs. So I owned 5 offices, and offices was my specialty. That was what I was comfortable with. I didn't understand retail properties or sheds or anything else. Now, if I had stayed a specialist in office and I'd accumulated 20 or 30 offices over the last 20 years, I'd be broke now.
Yeah.
Because the asset class has turned out to be a disaster the last 5 years. And I think being a generalist allows you to pivot, to recognise, well, maybe I shouldn't be a specialist in this at this time. And you've got to be able to pivot and be open to learning new asset classes, new strategies. And the other thing that is really great about that from an intellectual point of view is that it's stimulating to learn new things. There's nothing more boring than doing the same thing for 30 years every day and you're not learning anything.
Yeah, love it.
And that's just what I wanted to share as a mindset thing.
No, for sure. And look, it makes me think, it's this. We're talking about investing and money here. It's actually although this is all property investment, you're diversifying your property
Yes, absolutely.
investing.
Investing
So,
and skill set.
You know, it's when you think about share, investing in shares, you do want to, or even investing overall, you want some shares, you want some property, you diversify in case one, because they go up and down, don't they? In depending it, and so by doing a lot of different things, what if truck parking dies in the arse, which it probably won't because you've done all your research, but what if it did? What offices have?
As I said, if I was the best office investor in the world right now, I'd still be struggling. There's no point being a specialist in something that's not working.
Right. All right, let's get to the 6 then. All right, so the build-to-lease unit development.
Okay, so this will be the quickest one because I'm going to let the viewers know that we're going to cover that in about 45 minutes in another podcast.
Right.
So what I'm going to do is tell you what it is, and I am about to get...
So this one's underway.
This is a site I bought 2 years ago.
Right.
And no excuses for any listeners if you say I can't afford to buy a property. This site cost me $120,000. Now, at that point in time when I bought it, I just signed a contract to buy those 4 sheds up in Harvey Bay for $1.6 million.
Yep.
Struggling to get the deposit back. I couldn't even buy this site for $120,000. I couldn't even afford, but it looked like a good deal for me. So I approached my ex-wife and we went halves. So I got into the deal with $60,000. And at this point in time, this is very hairy-fairy, but my projections are to make $1.5 million from that block of land.
Wow.
We're about to get approval to build 15 dwellings on that site. I'm not going to sell them. I'm going to keep them for my kids and rent them out. So $120,000.
Wow.
No excuses. And we'll cover that later on. So people can wait for that because we're going to do a podcast in 45 minutes on it.
Yep. So stay tuned. We won't talk too much more about that one now. Then, being that is coming up on another episode. All right. So number 2. This is really interesting. Rural property, turning it into a solar farm.
Yeah. So the next 4 strategies, numbers 2 to 5 on my bucket list, is I want to be involved either for myself or for a client in adding value to rural land.
Right.
Okay, so that first number 2, I mentioned I bought last podcast 10 acres of industrial land in a joint venture with my 2 kids.
Yep.
I thought rather than spending a heap of money building it as a truck depot, I would exhaust all other possibilities. So I rang a solar panel company to see if they'd be interested in building solar panels on it because my thought process was if they will sign a lease to do that, I don't have to build the truck parking depot and fit the fences up and the concrete and the hard sand and the cameras and everything. And
do they need any type of security around solar?
I'm sure
panels?
they do, but the key to it is I wouldn't have to do it. I would say, well, look, I'll give you my site. You sign a 30 or 40-year lease.
Yeah, because they're not planning on moving them.
Subject to you getting approval from the council to install this solar panel. You go and get the council approval, and then you go and build it all. I do nothing but get rent from you for the next 30 or 40 years and see a massive increase in the valuation of the land through the roof.
Wow.
Now, unfortunately, after a couple of phone calls to some of these companies, they told me 10 acres is just way too small.
Okay.
They want 80 hectares, which is 150 acres, but absolute minimum is about 100 acres.
Right.
So part of my
at least you know that now.
Now I know it. But that sort of triggered to me, well, how can I help someone else with a large 100-acre rural land benefit from this and maybe turn the land into its highest and best use? Rural land is the cheapest land in Australia. It's just worth nothing. Maybe in many, many areas it might be worth $1 million for 100 acres.
Yep.
And if you can get approval for a solar panel farm to go there and get a 30 or 40-year lease on it, it's just worth a fortune. So guess what? Yesterday in Townsville, I went and met 2 neighbours who collectively own 650 acres of rural land.
When you say neighbours, this is to your truck parking?
No, it's 20 minutes away from there. It was an agent who sold me one of those truck parking
right. Yep.
depots. He owns 350 acres of rural land, and his neighbour also was thinking of selling. Yesterday, they appointed me to sell their 650 acres of land.
Wow.
And Adam, it is right next to the Powerlink energy substation infrastructure grid where all of that solar power needs to go to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're now signed up as their agent to sell this.
Correct.
Okay, are you going to look at buying it?
I can't finance it, and
Right.
I asked my client there whether he would consider me taking out a 3-year option. So I'll give you $20 million if you give me a 3-year option to buy the land, and then during that 3 years, go and get the council approvals and sign up a lease, and then I'll give you $20 million. And my thought process was it might be worth $40, $50 million.
Yep.
The bank will lend me the whole 20. I wanted to put nothing into it.
Yep.
But the gentleman and his neighbour are elderly.
They want to sell now.
They don't want to wait 3 years.
Right.
And I don't have $20 million cash lying around. So unfortunately, this is what I mentioned before in the bucket list. If I can't do some of these strategies myself, I want to at least have the intellectual stimulation of being involved in a transaction which adds that amount of value. And if I make a little bit of commission as a real estate agent selling, well, then that can be a fair reward for the input that I have in that type of transaction.
So, well, I've got 2 questions here. Am I firstly allowed to say if there's anyone listening who would be interested in having a look at these blocks of land for the highest and best use, which you think it could possibly be this strategy number 2,
Call me.
Can they get in touch?
Call me.
Okay, so there you go. All right. There may be someone out there, and if that's of interest to you, we're talking Townsville. We'll leave it at that. Get in touch.
Yeah, just get in touch with me, and you know the qualities that the solar panel companies look for a site that is suitable. One, the most important one is what I just said. It has to be close to the existing energy infrastructure grid. Secondly, it needs to be more than 100 acres. Thirdly, it needs to be relatively flat land with a slope of less than sort of 5%. It can't be in a flood zone, or it can't have overlays with special trees that you can't cut down or anything like that. And they're the main things that they're looking for.
Sure.
And it needs to be somewhere where there's lots of sun. There's no point having it in Tasmania, I don't think. I'm not sure, but there needs to be radiation to make these solar panels work.
It's funny you say that, because when you said the most important thing, it needs to be near a grid, I was going to say, well, isn't it most important that there's sun there?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
But there you go. hello@andrewwrightproperty.com.au is the email address if you're interested in that, or if you just want to get in touch with Andrew. So the final question on that one, are you, as the agent, going to market it as a potential solar farm?
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so I've got 2 or 3 contacts I've already spoken to in relation to that actually people that actually do this. So I'll be talking to them, instigating phone calls to them. But I'm also, over the next week, going to put something together and put it online on Real Commercial and Commercial Real Estate and advertise it as a potential solar panel.
So if you're interested, jump in quick.
Yeah, and the thing is, that particular council apparently is very open towards that. You've got to actually have a council that supports it.
Sure.
And the owner's actually already spoken to that council, and they are supportive of that renewable energy type of use for the site.
Perfect. All right, let's move on. Strategy number 3, rural land, turning it into a retirement village, a land lease community.
That's right.
So there are a lot of these popping up.
They are.
Both in cities and you're seeing them sort of more rural now as well.
It's a big need in the community. There's a lot of people. I forget the demographics, but there's a lot of people moving into their late 60s and 70s, and because of the housing crisis and the affordability crisis, a lot of them are looking for more economical ways of funding their retirement. So let me explain the business model of these retirement village operations. So most of them make money in 4 main ways. The first way they generate wealth for their own companies, a lot of them are big publicly listed companies, is they get a material change of use with the council to change it from rural zoning into some sort of residential zoning for retirement villages. they get a big uplift in the valuation of the land.
Yep.
Number two, they then build houses for the retirees, and they sell the houses at a markup, like any builder, to the retirees. They make a margin. Thirdly, they never sell the land to them.
No.
They rent the land to the retirees. So the retirees buy the house as a leasehold property, and they pay rent for the rest of their lives to these retirement village operators. So the retirement village operators own the land, which will hopefully double in 10 years' time, and it's being funded by the retirees who pay rent for the land. So that's the business model. It works.
Yep.
It's a phenomenal business model, and I'm at 7 a.m. this morning, I spoke to one of those retirement village operators about that same site of 650 acres up in Townsville, and that might be too large for him, but he is going to look into whether it's suitable for that operation.
Okay, so hang on. I'm starting to sort of get a picture here.
My job as a real estate agent is to get the best price for a seller. So I need to explore what is the highest and best use for that site.
Right.
I don't know.
We
if
don't
it's
know
solar
yet. So
panels or retirement
there's
village.
two options
Yeah.
right there. I'm going to throw another one in here because my mum lives in one of these they call them over 50s lifestyle resorts. But it's a retirement village.
Yeah.
I think the other piece of the pie they get, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that they also then set up their own real estate agency, and they then handle all transactions and make commissions on any time they change hands as well.
Yeah, so they obviously charge ongoing fees to operate these facilities as well. And in some cases, because they actually build the houses, they actually enter into maintenance contracts and get paid for all the repairs and things as well. So there are other small windfalls that they make.
Yep, auxiliary services that
I suspect that they're minimal in comparison to having that land double in value and all those types.
For
of
sure. And look,
ways
and
to
from
add
from these owners' point of views too, I just want to make the point with my mum being a one of this, because she's actually sold out of one and bought another in the same place. They've done very well out of the capital growth there as well. Just by not owning the land themselves hasn't been a detriment to the owner.
Well, building costs have skyrocketed, so
So excellent. All right, number 4, and turning rural land into a residential subdivision.
yes.
So this is more your classic.
This is more what
classic
people probably heard about, thought about.
Property development. Yep.
And that same site yesterday
Could be that.
could be that. So right across the road from those two sites, as I understand it, is explained to me, they just sold 78 blocks of land that were 1 acre in size, and there's now houses on that. So right opposite the road, they've broken them down into 1 acre rural residential lots right across the road, and all of the utilities are already connected to this road. There's already electricity there. There is water there.
Right.
There's sewerage there. It's already connected. So
here's your third option.
Here's the third option. So the numbers I've already calculated in my head on the plane last night. The owner is prepared to enter into a joint venture with a property developer instead of selling it. They're prepared to enter into a joint venture, and they'll take $40,000 per acre block in 3 or 4 years' time. If another developer will come and get the council approvals, build the site, sell them, and instead of the developer having to buy the site now, they can just pay the owners at the end $40,000 for each lot they sell. Now, the construction costs and getting the sites ready will be about $100,000 for each block.
Per site, yep.
Plus $40,000 to the current owners.
Yep.
An acre of land up there sells between 300 and 400 grand each. So there's 160 grand profit in each one.
Just on the land before they even build.
Yeah. Well, they will build, and the purchasers will build their own houses on there. They'll just sell the land.
Yep.
And 500 blocks, if there's 650 acres there, if we say we could get 500 1 acre blocks
with
times 160 grand profit, that's $80 million profit.
And that's with nothing down.
Nothing down for the land, but it would cost 500 times 100. It'll cost $50 million to get it
To
ready.
get it ready, yep.
But after getting 150 in, you pay $20 million to the current owners, and there's $80 million profit.
Wow.
They're the numbers.
They're the numbers.
Yep.
Okay.
Now, it's usually probably 150 grand in most areas to get a single residential block ready, but because there's a massive street frontage on this side already, because all the utilities are already connected from the council with the electricity and the water and the sewer, a lot of the work's already been done.
How far out of Townsville is it?
It's 15 to 20 minutes
Right.
from the city.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any amenity shops or anything
Yeah.
out that way?
Yeah, there is.
Yep.
It's not like a ghost town, but it's on the outskirts
Well,
of
look,
town.
it's rural. Yep.
Yes.
So
Rural residential is across the road, the other side of the road.
Mm.
This is rural, but across the road they're 1 acre blocks.
Right.
So the urban sprawl has gradually pushed out, and it's right across the road.
Wow. Look, it's going to be very interesting to follow this through and see where that ends up, and which one of those or something else it could end up being. But you're obviously in now. You're signed up. You're going to be part of the process, no matter what happens.
That's
so
right.
really looking forward to seeing how that plays out, and that will tick off one of your three if it goes one of those three ways.
Yes.
So you've ticked off one of these as this,
even though it's not for me.
No.
I'm okay. I mean, if I sell that site, for example, for the subdivisions, I mean, I may well get the job to sell 500 blocks of land.
Yeah.
And that, I'll set up a little office there and employ someone on site to sell the land, and I'm not going to make a big chunk of money from selling it to someone else now, but they might reward me by allowing me the job to sell the 500 blocks of land.
Yep.
See how we go.
Fantastic. All right. Strategy number 5. Contaminated land?
Yeah, contaminated land.
To a truck depot. What first of all, what's contaminated land?
Okay, so every time you buy an industrial block of land, now there's a thing called a seller's disclosure statement in Queensland, and there's a couple of questions on there that the seller needs to ask. Is this property on the Environmental Management Register, number 1, and 2, is it on the Contaminated Land Register? Now, I want to disclose up front, I'm an absolute novice at this. I have very little understanding of it, but if it's contaminated land, it generally means that someone has used that site and done the wrong thing with the land, either accidentally or on purpose.
Right.
It could be someone who's thrown a heap of asbestos through the land and tried to fill in some low-lying areas and just dumped a whole heap of rubbish in there.
Right.
There's a number of different reasons why
That
it
it
might
could be
be
classed
contaminated.
Contaminated.
Yes, and then you're not allowed typically to build on that sort of land until you make good the land,
Right.
and that makes the land effectively very, very worthless because no one can actually do anything with it and build on it.
Right.
Now, this strategy may not work. I'm not confident with this, but what I have come to realise over listening to my podcast over 3 weeks of holidays overseas is that there is a billionaire in America who has become a specialist in simply going out and buying contaminated land sites at massively discounted prices because no one else wants it, and finding councils who will allow
Truck park.
them to be done converted to truck parking because no one's living on the site. And if you whack a heap of gravel or concrete over the top of it, there's no real health risk there to the community. And even though you can't build on it, there are certain councils that have allowed him to turn them into truck parking depots. So if you can buy an industrial block of land for 90% less than normal market value because no one else wants it, and you can turn it into something that the
potential
community benefits using and will pay for, there's potentially some upside there. Now, I don't know if that will work in Australia, but I've decided that I'm going to find out.
You're going to test it.
I'm going to test it.
And see what's how do you go and find contaminated land?
My understanding is that you cannot download a list
Of
of
contaminated
sites in Queensland that are on the Contaminated Land Register. You have to have a look at each site that comes up for sale individually, have a look at the seller's disclosure statement, or have your lawyer do a search of the Contaminated Land Register. It'll only take them 5 minutes.
Yep.
Is this on that site, yes or no? There may well be a list somewhere, but I haven't worked out whether it's possible to find a list of properties on the Contaminated Land Register. It may well be a Privacy Act issue that
they don't.
it doesn't exist.
You're right. Yep. Okay. That's going to be an interesting one.
Interesting. I'm not confident.
A challenging one.
But guess what? In Townsville yesterday, I went and inspected a 45-acre industrial block of land.
Yep.
That is on the contaminated land register. It was purchased for approximately $6.7 million many years ago, and they're trying to sell it now for 1.5 because it is contaminated.
Right.
So there's a scenario potentially where
would it suit truck parking?
Absolutely, it's already zoned industrial. So if the council there were to say, okay, we won't allow any development here, but if you're just going to use it for truck parking.
Is that an answer you can get from council before you go and purchase? How long does it take to go through councils to get a firm yay
I don't
or
know.
nay?
As I said, this is a seed that was planted in my mind 10 days ago.
Through a podcast.
And I suspect the council definitely would not put it in writing straight away that, yes, we'll let you do this. Yep. Because if it was that easy, the current owner would have done it. And my understanding is at the moment to get a soil tester to go out there and provide a comprehensive report on the current level of contamination, an investor needs to spend about $200,000 with a geotechnical soil analysis.
Right.
So even to get started there, you're going to have to spend $200,000 getting a report to give to the council, say, oh, look, this is not that bad contamination. It's only a little bit.
Yep.
We'll clear up a little bit here, and then will you let us do a truck parking depot? So this is not easy.
Yep.
I'm not suggesting that any listeners are going to get excited and race out and do this.
Yep.
It's just something that I want to
explore. It's an idea,
and
someone's done it in America.
Yes.
And you're gonna give it a look, a very close look at, and see what you can do with it here.
Yes.
All right. I look forward to another episode on that.
It's a bit more interesting than just buying another house and selling a house, Adam. It's stimulating.
Absolutely.
I'm learning.
Absolutely. All right. Number 6. Now, we've done a podcast on this particular strategy. You've done this one before for a client.
Yeah.
So before I even announce it, you've done this for a client. So you could technically, based on your list here and saying that all you want to do is you'll count it if you help someone else do it.
Yes. But I'm a bit more firm on this one. This one I want to do for myself.
That's the point I want to make. All right, and that is to add a billboard to an existing property and make $1 million.
Yeah. Before I die, I want to buy a commercial property somewhere and get approval to build a digital billboard and rent it out for 50 or 60 grand a year and add $1 million to the site.
Fantastic. So if you haven't listened to that episode, we don't really need to delve into this one too much because there is a full episode. It might have been episode 4 or 5, I think. Go back and have a look at and listen to that because it is a cracking strategy. But just quickly run me through the criteria for what a property would need to have in order for it to be suitable for a billboard.
I think in nearly every council in this country, it would need to be zoned commercial land, not residential, but I'm not 100% sure of that. But the ones I've investigated need to be commercial. It probably needs to draw a maximum amount of rent. It needs to be located in a busy central hub next to a set of street lights where cars stop and they have enough what they call dwell time to stop the car, look up at the digital billboard, and read the advertising.
So that's an important point. Not just passing traffic. It needs to have a stop.
You do see them out in the sticks on country roads.
Yeah, you do.
But you're not going to get a big rent there.
No.
You need certain 20,000 cars a day passing the site and stopping at the lights to actually have a dwell time and actually look at it and think, oh, yeah, there's an ad.
A few different ads.
That's how you get the bigger rents for those digital billboards. You notice the ones out of the country aren't digital. They're just little
old wooden
things with a painting on them.
Up that's it.
Yep. You're not going to get, you might get $5,000 a year for a big one of them, but not 50 or 60 or $100,000 a year.
Sure. So if you do want to know more about that one, do go back and have a listen to our previous episode. Now, you've got some pretty interesting and bold strategies there.
I'm getting old, Adam, and I just thinking of philosophy and mindset. I was thinking when I was overseas about a mate of mine who he had lunch with Kerry Packer or his son James Packer, the billionaires.
Yep.
And I just remember him. I remember asking him, what was the big takeaway of any philosophy you learned from the Packer family when you had lunch with them? And he told me, he said, Andrew, you've got to have a ticket in the lottery. And what that means is you've got to have a crack with your life.
Yep.
You've got to get involved with something and at least give yourself a chance to become successful. Do something different, have a
You're
crack.
not going to get anywhere doing nothing.
And that ties in with a really strong philosophy that I've always held with my property portfolio now is, and this is my philosophy sharing for the day, and
Sure.
don't expect to feel the heat until you throw some logs on the fire.
Yep.
Okay, so if you got one residential property investment and the market goes up, well done. But what if you got 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 and the market goes up? Give yourself a chance. You've got to have a ticket in the lottery.
Yep. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, there's one last thing on the list here that isn't part of your 6. And this just blows me away even reading it out here. But what do you want to talk about when you say free rural land from timber rights?
Have we covered 6? That might be the 6th one I wanted to talk about.
No, this is 7. This
is it 7? Okay,
on
well,
my
let's add
list
it.
here. This is the bonus tactic.
Okay, well let's add that one too. So many years ago, I got very excited by reading a book, and I can't remember the author or the name of the book, about investing, and it talked about a company or investor in America who signed an option agreement to purchase a large rural block of land, and before the expiry date of that option, when he had to decide, yes, I'm going to proceed, or no, I'm not going to buy this land, he signed up a 10 or 15-year contract with a local timber mill for the rights for them to come and cut down all the trees, take them off the site, and harvest them to make paper.
Right.
The money that he made from that timber mill who came and cut down the trees on that land gave him a free block of land.
Wow.
I'm looking right now. I have 2 sites that are currently for sale in Australia that already have contracts in place with timber mills to come down and log trees on the rural blocks of land. I'm investigating them right now. The numbers I don't think are as impressive as that example, but I'm exploring it. And before I die, I want to buy a rural block of land, find a timber mill who sees benefit in cutting down the trees for their operations.
Yep.
That will pay off that land for my kids. It's getting harder and harder because around the country, a lot of councils are under pressure due to the greenie sort of movement,
Sure.
not to cut down certain trees. So there are various overlays in a lot of locations. It's a purple overlay when you have a look at the town planning maps where you're not allowed to cut down those trees unless you get council permission. But there are still lots of areas where you are allowed to cut down the trees. And I am going to source one before I die and have the timber mill come and cut down the trees, which will make the land free, and my kids will inherit that site.
Fantastic.
It's a game.
Yep. No,
It's fun.
Yep. No, I love it. And what I do love, because I know we're planning another episode coming up soon on the property, your property investment disasters.
Yes.
So, but you do have a crack, and you're going to have a bit of both. But overall, if you've got a ticket in the lottery and you're learning, and you're learning from your mistakes, overall, you should do very well as you are.
And you know what? There's a lot more to life than just making money. And I mentioned before about the mental stimulation thing, the intellect side of things. Part of being happy is learning and progress. And I'm learning every day all these new things. And this is the beauty about property, is there are so many ways to make money.
Yep.
Have a crack.
Yep. All right, I want to finish with a couple of rapid fire 2026 commitments, mindset-wise. You've written these down for me, so explain them to me. Millionaire by 30.
I want to, share my psychology around a couple of times in my life where I've got angry or something's triggered me to say, I'm going to show that person, I'm going to do this. And my auntie and uncle, one of my aunties and uncles are now deceased, but when I was 28, I was heavily into reading books and personal development and everything, and I made the mistake of sharing my desire publicly or privately to them. I said, I'm going to be a millionaire by age 30. And they both started laughing with the top of their voice at the Christmas party at home with mum and dad and my brothers, and said, Andrew, you'll never do that. And I just felt so, because it was in front of my parents and my other family members, and I just felt so bad. And I walked away from that Christmas turkey and everything thinking, I'm going to show them.
Yep.
And they were right. I didn't become a millionaire by age 30, but by 32 I did.
Yep.
And you don't have to hit every one of your goals, but you've got to have a crack.
Absolutely.
You've got to have a ticket in the lottery. And that really, they don't even know to this day how much that infuriated me when they said, you're not good enough to do that, Andrew. You'll never become a millionaire. And it took me 2 years longer than I thought, but I did it. By age 32, I was a millionaire.
And that was a big driving force.
That was something in my life that made me angry.
Yep. 6-pack by 50.
Yeah. The next time, this is another thing that it wasn't so brutal. No one tried to drag me down like my family there, but one of my really close mates, we were together. I can't remember what we were doing, but I was fat at that time, 85 kilos, and my body fat was 23% at the time, and we do exercise together, and we were going for a run, and I said, I'm going to get a 6-pack. I'm sick of this stuff flabbing around. He said, Righty, you're too old to get a 6-pack. You'll never get a 6-pack. And again, that sort of someone doubting me, thinking, well, why not? Why can't I do it? And I set a goal. I said, well, you just wait and see. Within 5 years, I'm going to have a 6-pack. He was right too. I'm now 55. I now have a 6-pack. It's taken me 10 years. And in all honesty, it's the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. At age 55, to go from 23% body fat to 8 or 9, it's taken me 10 years instead of 2 or 3. It's the hardest thing I've ever done. And before we came here today, I Googled on ChatGTP this morning before I came here. I said, how many millionaires are there in Australia? It came up with 2 million people in Australia are millionaires.
Yep.
And I said, how many people in Australia do you estimate, it's just a guess, have a 6-pack? It said between 200 and 300,000. So it is 6 times harder
to get a 6-pack.
As an adult to get a 6-pack than to become a millionaire. So I don't know why I'm sharing that, but...
No, I love it. I love it.
And don't break promises to yourself. The big thing about, if you want to destroy your own confidence and happiness in your life, you have to set a New Year's resolution like I've just gone through, and then a week later forget about it. Because if you lie to yourself and you break promises to yourself, there's nothing that will destroy your self-confidence more than that. So if you say you're going to go to the gym every morning at 5:30, don't lie to yourself. You do it.
Yep. Love it. Fantastic. Look, this has been one of my favourite episodes, and we're going to follow all of these through over the course of this.
Hold me accountable.
I will. Absolutely, I will. And look, I'm excited because I can see how passionate you are about this. I love talking to you about it. I'm going to love seeing how and what. And, the first thing is what's going to happen with this spot in Townsville. That's what I'm really interested in. So, look, thanks so much, Andrew, and thanks everyone for joining us. And look, first time we put one out there. If you are interested in having a look at this property in Townsville, please do send Andrew an email, hello@andrewwrightproperty.com.au. And I'm going to put something else out there. Okay, Andrew mentioned a book that he can't remember. Okay, so if you've gotten to the very end of this podcast, you've been with us the whole way through to the very end. If you're here right now and you can find out the name of that book and the author, now quickly, it was about
an option to purchase a rural property.
Yep.
And the purchaser of that property, before he decided to buy it and was forced to exercise the option, had a timber mill sign a 10 or 15-year contract to cut down the trees, and the money he got from selling those trees paid for the land.
Right. If you can find that book and you can find that author, there's a $200 Visa card coming your way. Okay, so first one to email Andrew, hello@andrewwrightproperty.com.au. Very first one comes with the right name, and we will announce a winner if we get one. So there you go. I've done that on the spot. All right, thanks so much. And, mate, again, crazy stuff that you've got out there. But, mate, good luck, and I know you're going to do it.
Thanks, Adam. Appreciate it.
See you on the next episode.
Thank you. Thanks for listening to the Andrew Wright Property Podcast. This is all about building a community of like-minded investors who can share real-life stories, experiences, and collaborate with a view to helping each other. Join us. Get in touch through the link in the show notes. I look forward to you joining me on the next episode.